Hello iedereen and welcome to Terraformental. So let's do a new game, because I want to start over. You awaken in a cryopod. A deep chill seeps through your body and your mind seems wrapped in a dense fog, which obscures your memories. So open cryopod. So let's start. Relatively warm but still air rushes into the pod as the door launches open. Carrying with you is a variety of unpleasant smells. You find yourself in a small room with few furnishings and only one door. So you can do explore facility. The facility seems to be a small terraforming station, codenamed Talos, but it's in very poor condition. Most of the systems are offline and unresponsive, and the door to the ground floor is locked. There are several other cryopods like the one you were in, but seeing a few sealed bottles of water makes you suddenly realize how thirsty you are. So yeah, as long as you don't do anything, it doesn't make timer on. So you can just slowly read through this. Then we unlock more stuff. So turns out you have a handy nano storage device which can store a limited number of each object in existence, so long as it's not too big. But not that it matters just yet, as you were thirsty enough to guzzle that bottle straight down. Question is, what should your next priority be? The first priority is take all of these water bottles. Then we can also queue stuff up, so we can look at the food synthesizer, ground floor, life support, main reactor. Yeah, the more you progress, the more stuff you unlock, the more you can see. Despite every component showing significant signs of wear, the food synthesizer still seems to be operable. Unfortunately, it requires more power than the backups can provide. The facility's main generator is offline. It seems that the door is sealed as part of an emergency lockdown. You should easily be able to lift the lockdown, but only if you can get the main generator back online. Alternatively, you could always try to force the door open, but it does look quite sturdy. While the heating system is in near perfect condition, the carbon filters look like they're on their last legs. You can't find a way to repair them. You can't find any spares. Once they fail, you'll only have the air in the facility. You start to feel the cramping pangs of hunger in your belly. It's not serious yet, but you might want to look into getting some food. The immense fission reactor required to power a terraforming station like this is actually deep underground, but the diagnostic and control terminals feed you all the information you need. The logs show that several weeks ago someone ordered the repair drones to disable the generator by removing several key components. It'll take a while, but you can easily reverse the process. So yeah, we do repair main generator first. Then not take with the water or inspect the water recycler. I might be dead already. That's a new one. I didn't know you could die immediately. So yeah, it restarted the game. So you can actually die in the first area. That's actually the first time that happened. Let's go through this. Drink small water bottle. Yeah, I thought I had some more time to get through this. Inspect the water recycler first. Yeah, this is all the same, even though it says that it's new. Yeah, now we have quite a bit of water. The water recycler is mostly functional, but the main pump is broken. You'll need to find a build a replacement before you can clean any more water. Luckily, there's a small amount of clean water left in the tanks, which you should be able to siphon off manually. Let's get the main generator up next. Synthesize, life support, and inspect ground floor. That should be all of them. And even while you queue this up, you can still be like, oh, I want to do this first. And then this button, they'll actually put it on the front instead of on the back of the queue. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to die in the first few minutes. Yeah, now power's on. Or no, actually power's not on. Power is, we know how to fix the power. Yeah, let's get the ground floor. It seems that the door is sealed as part of an emergency lockdown. You should easily be able to lift the lockdown, but only if you get the main reactor back online. Yeah, so I think I read that already. The air has started smelling increasingly foul. There's plenty of time before it becomes hazardous, but you have no doubt that the carbon filters have failed completely. You should keep an eye out for a new air supply. Let's get the main generator on. Yeah, and every time we do this, we get faster. So now it's insanely slow. And after you've done the same operation like a few times, it gets several times faster. A deep thrumming rumbles its way through the facility as the main power starts back up. Hopefully most of the systems will come back online along with it, including that food synthesizer you saw earlier. Yeah, now we can actually make food. Because we're gonna need, if any of these drop to 0, you're basically dead. Lift lockdown. At least it's really fast to make food. Yeah, like this has already been reduced by 1 second. By making a few basic food. I don't really get why the main menu sound is so much louder than the game sounds. You bypass the last bit of security, lifting the lockdown. The door obligingly slides outside, granting you access to the ground floor of this facility. So yeah, now we can actually explore. Yeah, we're using so much food. That's kind of hard to keep up. Food and water both. But yeah, it should be possible to get to the first artifact pretty easily, as long as you keep an eye on the food and water meters. And not be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and just forget about it. So this will go to max and not... No. It got it just in time. But yeah, you can actually get this to full, not take it because there's no space, and then wait, and then once you need it, it's like an instant collect. The ground floor is separated into two main areas. The personal section is mostly quarters, common areas, and offices for the staff, all currently empty, though there is a locked administrator's office, which might have some useful data. The rest of the space is dedicated to maintenance, including a workshop and a vehicle bay. Might be worth a closer look. Yeah, we need a vehicle bay. And I need the workshop. And that's gonna take too long. So we're probably gonna force the administrator's office. Judging by the markings on the numerous parking spaces in the vehicle bay, there used to be dozens of rovers here, as well as several VTOL, vertical takeoff landing aircraft. Unfortunately, or perhaps by someone's design, there's only one rover left, tucked in the far corner of the bay. The workshop is pretty basic. The most of its contents seem to be there awaiting repair. However, there is a mostly empty cargo pallet of water pouches, a large pile of metal sheets which you might be able to find a use for, as well as one functional power coupler. You can only assume someone had just finished repairing it when the evacuation sounded. You also find a charging rack full of PDAs, used for tracking maintenance requests and schedules. It would probably be handy for recording any important information you come across. Yeah, take the PDA. We take all of these. You snag one of the PDAs from the rack, fasten the straps around your wrist, and quickly enter what little you've learned so far. Yeah, once you have the water pouches, it's easier to deal with the water. And this thing's infinite. Let's see, Inspector Rover is next. A quick walk through the rover, checking the lockers and other storage, reveals very little. The one thing you do find is definitely going to be helpful though, an emergency survival kit. It won't protect you from much, but it will offer a sealed environment for you to breathe in, so long as you can keep your air tanks topped up. The rover usually have a recycler to refill them. You just hope that it's still working. The suit also has a small water reservoir that you can easily drink from, and it even looks like the reservoir has been let full of water. You probably shouldn't be surprised that half of the rover's systems are non-functional. The air recycler is working, so if you grab the emergency suit, you'll be able to refill its O2 tanks. But if you want to go anywhere, you need to cannibalize 4 power couplers from the facility systems and find enough scrap metal to patch the holes in the hull. The food synthesizer is missing several key components, and the water recycler is a bit more than a twisted shell of metal. It looked like someone tried to cut it out of the hull, destroying it instead. Hopefully you'll be able to gather enough supplies to make a decent length journey. Won't that be a lengthy journey? Give me food. Yeah, take emergency suit first. Then life support is already dead. So yeah, we can take this one. Yeah, these are all stuff I can just take without any issues. Let's refill air tanks first. So if this drops, this can actually restore and give me a little bit more extra time. Now let's put the power couplers that we have into the rover. Also queue these back up. Also queue up the metal. Yeah, you want to remove this one as the last thing you do on this. You can also check the other cryopods. You can also look at the PDA for like information, like notes, what you've seen. There's a map that we don't have yet. But yeah, soon the area air will be gone. And we'll still be here, at least at this point. Yeah, they will stop before it finishes, because we're missing a couple, eh? Because we need to fix the hull first. And then actually force the admin door open and get the information from there, so we know where to go. Yeah, now we have repair hull. Then we queue up again. Do once, queue up, do once, and I think do queue up again. I think that should be all of it. Like all the sheet metal. And the reason why I want to do take all of them is it makes it way faster. Now it's already down by 1 second per operation. You take the time to carefully check out each of the cryopods, not wanting anyone else to be abandoned the way that you were. Your heart skips a beat when 2 of them are actually occupied, but quickly sinks as you notice the lack of life signs. They were dead before they were frozen. They must have wanted to preserve the bodies, but couldn't bring them when they left. One of them is very old, but the other is fairly young. But there are no obvious wounds or injuries on either of them. Let's actually queue all of these up. Because we're running out of food. It was not my intention to do the air tank, but it's gonna work. Because the area resource of air is gone. Let's do force admin office door. You can queue that up as well. Now this should be enough to repair the rover, or at least the hull. You're relieved to see the pressure gauge finally spinning upwards as you seal the final hole in the hull. The pressure regulator is busted, so you can't rely on it constantly replenishing your oxygen without you micromanaging it. But at least you'll be free to take your helmet off for a short period to eat and drink. You do still need to repair the power systems if you intend to go anywhere in it though. Not to mention, you don't actually know where anywhere else to go yet. You could try driving around randomly, but to say your odds of finding anything useful are low would be somewhat of an understatement. And that's why we go to the administrative door. Before we do that, oops, that should have been before. He wouldn't die, but still. Though the air is actually going down way faster. You find it relatively easy to force the door to the administrator's office open. That computer isn't locked, but most of the data seems to have been corrupted. Other than the last active file, only a few schematics are still accessible. Inside the desk you find a stash of protein bars. Yeah, so we take this one. We use the administrator log, so that actually gives us information where to go. Log shows Colonel Taggart, the administrator of Teller Station, giving a report on the current status of the systems and declaring that the artifact has somehow destabilized them. In particular, life support. He ordered an evacuation and led coordinates to the facility that we're going to try to reach. If you can repair the rover you found, you should be able to follow them. You add the coordinates to your PDA's map, hoping you'll soon be able to give a name to the location. Yeah, so remove office power coupler, so we can keep the food synthesizer. I think in the early versions you didn't have this coupler. At least not on the first run. And it's kind of easy to mess up the food synthesizer and just die. The rover hums to life around you as you connect the final power coupler. With the hull repaired too, plus the coordinates from the computer, you're pretty much ready to go. Though you should make sure to stockpile some of those protein bars and some water bottles. The more difficult or the more different types of food and water containers you have, the more your nano storage device can carry all together, and the longer you can survive. Basic food, water pouch, give me another water pouch. Now let's see, there was a way, I think it's right click, yeah. So right click on that, it should actually go all the way to the end and then stop. And now everything's full. We can go and do leave in rover. After triple checking the rover systems and your stockpile of food and water, you finally leave Teller Station behind. With the onboard GPS guiding you, it's relatively simple to aim for the coordinates from the administrator's final log. You sit back and stare out at the slowly passing lifeless landscape, idly wondering what you might find when you reach the target. So follow coordinates. Once we can refill the air tanks, we should. It's gonna stop and then fill this up. Oh yeah, we'll mostly go through all of our resources before we hit the end. The first leg of your journey takes you past all the smaller buildings and equipment which support the facility you were in. Small solar farms to supply backup power, drills to release pockets of gas to build up an atmosphere and trap heat. Heat is to melt glaciers, providing water and raising the temperature of the planet even faster. You seem to understand them all, and yet you know that something about them is wrong. Follow coordinates. Let's get... Oh, the air tank is full. That's why we're full on air. Now we can queue that one up. Yeah, because the protein bars and the water pouches, we can survive way longer. It's been a while since you last saw one of the support buildings, and you've had nothing to look at but the landscape, which is good, as otherwise you may have missed seeing a flash of the reflected sun on the horizon. It's a little off your current heading, but with nothing else out here, you feel it's worth investigating. So head for reflection. Let's get some of the air back. As you draw closer to where you saw the reflection, you're eventually able to make out the shape of another rover. It's in far worse shape than yours was, even before you fixed it up. In fact, it looks almost like it's been sitting derelict for years, and has been partially buried by the weather and terrain. The Teller Station emblazoned on the hull is barely even visible. Moving around it though, you're thoroughly confused by what you see, while the rear of the vehicle is rusted almost to the point of disintegration in the desert wind. The wear lessens the farther forward you look. with the front bumper almost looking pristine. Well, inspect. According to the markings, it's definitely from the same facility as you. There are no bodies inside, so the driver and any passengers were likely rescued long ago. It seems they also took a lot of the components and tools that you could have used. However, in the rear compartment you find a sealed containment crate, usually used to transport fragile or dangerous materials and equipment. You wonder what might be inside and if it might be useful. Open the containment crate, because that's where the artifact is. That's where the game really starts to go funky. Release the seals and pull back the lid of the crate. A light hiss telling you that it had indeed been sealed airtight for all this time. Inside rests a strange metallic object. Unlike anything you know, it so appears to be made of countless tiny cubes, slowly moving and shifting in an unending rhythmic motion, which is almost hypnotic. You wonder what it feels like to touch the artifact. Throw all caution to the wind. As you touch the artifact, all its movement ceases for a moment, then it suddenly begins collapsing on itself. The cube seems to keep pulling inwards, holding together in impossible ways. Without warning, they start moving up your hand instead, pulling you down towards it, passing straight through your suit and sinking into your skin. They seem briefly confused by the PDA on your wrist, before enveloping it as well. Moments later, all trace of it is gone, absorbed into your body. You're not sure what to do. But since there seems to be nothing else for you here, you reluctantly return to your rover and resume your previous course. And I know for a fact that we do not have enough water to survive this. We have one small water bottle. It will actually take a while to get to the next station. You're still not sure how you could have failed to notice how far off course visiting the wreck will take you. The detour has drained a significant portion of your supplies, and you're getting concerned about your odds of survival. Yeah, you probably should. Yeah, Finley, I think, is closing into like a 50% reduction in time. So we're at 5.5 seconds instead of 8. That is such a massive difference. But yeah, we're already running out. We have like 35 seconds before we're out. And it takes more than a minute to even get there. Though I'm pretty sure it will remember how far you've gotten and it gives you a time boost. But I don't know if it's already doing it or if it's after you get past this point, this death. Because some things don't unlock at this point yet. You need to do a few loops. And with that, You devastate. So you now can actually look at stuff, notes, maps. Even though we died already, then how far you've gotten. Later on it shows you where you can go and stuff. So that's neat. And we can also hit the loop now. And you basically go through the loop, finding out new things, finding out how to go through it faster and stuff. But yeah, let's end the episode here. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.